Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love.
Good evening. This is DTM Real Talk, and we are back with the top concerns that women have. And yes, I'm super excited because I have special guests. Y'all know I have my pumpkin on here. She and I have been rolling with this for a couple of weeks, but I got another big sister. Barbara, say hi to the good folks out there.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Yeah. She decided to join us. Talking about I took her out of her comfort zone. Come on.
We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
So she is going to help us talk about these last few, well, actually it's not last few because there's so many concerns that women have, but we have covered, what did we cover, Pumpkin? We covered weight.
Insecurity. Attention, yes. I think wanting to be married or desire to be married.
Yeah, looking for a mate, being loved, trust.
Looking for a mate, yes, looking for a mate.
Trust. And those are issues that women have. Everybody has, but we're talking to women. We have issues with trust sometimes because we've been hurt or betrayed and never got delivered from it. We have issues with being concerned about the safety of our children. We have issues if you're single of picking or choosing the right mate or being available for the right mate. We have had issues. One of our top concerns is family, closeness of family, inner peace. And
learn about your children.
Yes. And tonight we're going to talk about money woes, death, and sibling rivalry. Now we might not get through it all, y'all, but we're gonna get far.
We're gonna try.
We gotta try. Let's talk about money woes. Why do you think women would have concerns with money woes?
Oh, wow.
Barbara, why you think?
Living above their means.
Oh, yeah. Living above.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a real good one. That's a
really good one.
We used to call it, how you say?
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes, and also beer taste. No,
champagne taste with beer money.
With beer pockets, yeah. Yes. So one of the reasons why we may have money woes is living above your means and being a not a good manager, not being a good steward over what you already have. That's one of the reasons that individuals or women can have challenges with money woes, not being responsible, not being a good manager. Any other reasons why?
Sometimes maybe limited education, which can be a roadblock to getting higher pay.
Yes, true. That can be a money woe as well, an explanation for money woe. But
cost of living going up.
Yeah. What did you say, Pumpkin?
I said the cost of living going up.
Cost of living going up. Yes. Money woes. That's kind of a money woe for everybody. that has a money woe. You know, cost of living going up. Yes. And one of the things that I look at is that when I have to talk about me, when I've had money woes. When I've had money woes, I had to remember whose child I am.
Yes.
You know, I really do have to remember that. And I don't hesitate to say I can't impose what I believe on you guys out there in YouTube world. But I just have to tell you that haven't always been, but today, my trust and faith is in God, even in the midst of my money woes, naturally speaking. And I'll give you a good example. A pastor friend of mine, gave a seminar. I think I mentioned this before about I could tell you what's most important to you if you let me see your checkbook.
Yes.
And after looking in my checkbook and seeing what my biggest expense was, it was kind of saddening to me. I'm not telling y'all so y'all can talk about me. It was kind of saddening to me, and I refrained from doing that. And I think I might have saved probably over $1,000. And I'm gonna tell you what it was. It was eating out. Probably over $1,000 in a month. Yeah. And that was not good management. I'm telling you, this was back in 2008. That was not good management. Not that it's wrong to eat out, guys, but it is wrong to mismanage or to not be a good manager in the midst of that. Yeah. So any other
I
comments?
have a question. Was that tab just for you, or you were treating other people?
Oh, I was
Good question.
I was like, let's go out and eat. Let's go out and eat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes we go above what we should limit ourselves to make an impression, whether it's a good impression or, just to be kind. And sometimes our kindness can keep us in trouble. Not that we don't want to share, but sometimes it put us in a strain because we don't want our other sister to be the one who have the tab all the time. And you say, well, I'm going to do it. And so it might put you in a bind.
Yeah.
But talking about, the money woes for me, back when I first started working, 3 children, a husband who barely brought any money in, those were money woes for me. And it was a hard struggle when your spouse tell you, okay, you have a permanent job and your check comes in every other week. I don't know when I'm gonna get any money, so I'll catch the little bills, you catch the big bills. And that was a hurt. That was like a slap in the face.
Yeah, that was a big money blow. Yeah.
Yes. So and this is the key for me. Don't know about nobody else. I was going to church, but until I heard a sermon one time about tithing. If you give God what he gives, you give him back what he belongs, he will supply your every need.
Yes.
So when I start fervently tithing every Sunday or every month, or whenever I got my check, God made ways I had to look back and say, how did I do that?
Yeah.
How did that dollar stretch that far when I know I only make this amount?
Right.
So when we put our priorities in the right manner, God will supply all of our needs according to his riches.
Amen.
We're his
children. Yes.
Amen. That's
so
true.
good. That's so good. I can attest to that. I'm gonna jump on your bandwagon as far as like having, husband and kids. And I remember, I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. So we were living off of one income and my husband wasn't making a lot of money. And I remember he got laid off. But the one thing he never wavered in was us paying our tithes. It didn't matter. We were going to pay our tithes. And so we always paid our tithes. And I remember this one Sunday I went to church and I'm like, Lord, this is my last $20. Like, I ain't got nothing else. This is it right here. And I just felt like the Lord was saying, give it to me. So I'll go up and I put the last $20 and I'm thinking, ooh, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna get to work the rest of the week. I don't know the rest of the week. I don't know how we're gonna have gas, any of that. And I promise you, a man that I've never seen before in my life in our church walked up to me and gave me the Baptist handshake and said, the Lord told me to give you this. And just as he was giving me this and I'm turning around to walk away, my 8-year-old niece comes running up and she says, Auntie, an angel just gave you money.
Amen.
And when I promise you, I never saw that man another day after. But I said all that to say, you take care of God's business, which God don't need us to take care of his business, but us being faithful.
Obedience.
Always gonna take care of yours. I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor a seed begging bread. And me and my children have never had to beg bread. We've had to make some smart choices, trust in the Lord and use wisdom, but he's made sure that we have everything that we needed.
Absolutely. Yes. So money woes for us are not necessarily money woes. And since y'all did that, I have to tell this one.
Okay.
Pumpkin, you know about the trip to Africa, what we went through. But one prior to,
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
you guys, we did not have the money to go, knowing that God had told us to go. So, but before she and I and her husband went, it was like a couple of years before that. I've been like 14 times. So this is about I think the third or the fourth time, maybe. I had to reach my quota every time, which was $3,500, and that would take care of everything. And I kid you not, praying and asking God to do what he already has told me to do and to provide. He did. A guy walked up to me, a dear friend of mine, I will not call his name, and put an envelope, one of those big, large business envelopes, and it had $1,001 bills in it.
Wow.
And he said, God told me to give you this. And then another one, I had done a class, a delivering the mail class, met a young man in my class. This is true. We're talking about for the believer now, because God does this. He does stuff like this.
Yes.
And so there was a guy in my class, and he was in Iraq in the military at the time. He was in my class one time, and he knew that I was trying to go to Africa. $500 came through the PayPal. I said, God bless you. So God is able to provide and will provide more than we can imagine, based on his riches, like you say, Barbara, in his riches and glory. Yes.
So
yeah, for money woes. So for those of you that don't have a relationship with God through Jesus, get that. And sometimes God will even supply for you, even if you don't, because his goodness leads to repentance. He is good to you because he wants 100.
Well, listen, I can just tell you this, because of course I BC, before Christ, let's just be real. I was living my life the way I wanted to live it, doing what Jett wanted to do, knowing better. Yes. But when I tell you that sometimes we get by on the prayers of our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunties and just the church in general. And I remember, being in a position where I knew that I had blew my money, and how am I going to do whatever? Because trying to go out to eat with friends and trying to buy my kids whatever, just doing all the wrong things. And even in that, I saw God move on my behalf because I had other people praying for me. Amen. And that people say, well, God knows your heart. Well, that's true, but God is still a God of order. And we still have to be obedient. And even in my waywardness, I still grew up in church. I still knew of God. I may not have been walking in that exact relationship, but I think, God knows who's his. And so through those prayers of the righteous that were praying for me, he blessed me. And they, held me up until I heard his voice and listened and turned from my waywardness and ran back into his arms, where he was waiting for me the whole time.
Yes.
To come back so he could be my provider.
Yes. Amen. So there we go with money woes. We hope that helps somebody. Okay. What is another challenge or top concern that women have? Let's move to death. Ooh, I think everybody had that challenge sometimes, but let's talk about that. Do women ever think about death and the fear come over them for thinking about it? Or what do you think about that?
So can I go first?
You can.
So I feel like I can really speak to this because I've recently gone through a lot of health challenges. I have a lot of autoimmune illnesses. I've had asthma my entire life, to the point that I remember the doctor crying over my bed some night telling my mom if we can just get her through the night. But most recently, the worst one that I had an abdominal aneurysm. So I literally was at death's door almost.
Yes.
And, because I'm a Christian and I know where I'm going, I wasn't afraid of death. I didn't want it right at that moment because I was afraid of leaving my children, thinking about how they were going to get through it and all of that. So that was my biggest concern. And I will have to say, in the flash of a moment, I did kind of think about, well, oh my gosh, if I pass away, then they got to bury me. So my mind started thinking about, am I prepared for death? Yes. Like literally, am I prepared? Because we pass away, and just because you pass away, the bills don't stop. And I never wanted my family to have to pass the plate. So in 2017, when I first got sick, that really made me think I need to be prepared. So my husband and I wrote our will, we got life insurance, we did those things. So this time around, had the Lord called me home, all of those things would have been prepared. My spirit was ready, my heart wasn't.
Gotcha. Similar. I think I shared the story when I was in a hospital last year. I shared it with everybody for the out there that didn't know it. I'm not a person that gets sick. I'm homeopathic. I'm into natural means and different things like that. And I don't have an issue with doctors, but I go to them if I need to. But most times I don't. And do my annuals. So don't be getting mad. Get everything done. My annuals. But if I get a little cough or a little pain here and there, I normally won't go. Well, last year during this time, actually was this time, February 2nd, my son says, Mom, are we going to do a cleanse? I said, yeah, absolutely. And so we started that cleanse February 1st, guys. And I work out 3 to 5 days a week. So we're at the gym. I had my stomach was upset, just really upset. And I'm like, gosh, what's wrong with my stomach? So I'm rubbing my stomach and praying and asking God to relieve it and all. And I said, come on, son, let's go to the gym. I'll work it off. And talking about death here. Well, I went to the gym and worked out about an hour on top of the pain. I'm trying to get rid of it. I got home and the pain would increase. I was like, oh, my, what's wrong with me? Oh, my, oh. And my son said, Mommy, you want me to call a doctor? I said, call an ambulance? I said, oh, no, but I was in there moaning. And sure enough, a knot rose in my stomach, just like I could look down and see it. And I said, oh, call him. He called the ambulance and they came. Long story short, I had gallstones, y'all. I had gallstones so bad. And the doctor says, well, you need to cut down on the greasy foods and the fried food. I said, I don't eat that. I don't even eat meat. I haven't eaten that in 20 years. He said, what did you eat before that? I said, well, I was raised on fatback and fried chicken, red beans, and rice. I said, well, it caught up with you.
So I the menus.
Yes, I thought I was going to die. And it was really weird because I was ready. I told the story before. I was ready spiritually, but I really wasn't ready physically because I felt like I didn't have things in order. I didn't have things, and I had insurance. I had all that stuff. I just didn't have everything else in order up here. Spiritually, I knew where I would land, but there was a fear, and it was momentarily because I had to recall what God said. So yeah, I've experienced that. And in 1998, they gave me 6 months to live. Now that was a call. 6 months to live. That was a call. And doing everything that I needed to do. I didn't know much about insurance at that time, but I did get a $200,000 policy. My kids were little. I was like, Lord, if you take me, then my parents will be able to take care of the children. When I told my dad, I said, Daddy, I'm going to die. He said, oh, you're not going nowhere. And after I explained everything to him, he accepted it. My mother didn't accept it. And I said, I'm going to die. And I want y'all to do this and do that. I was okay. I was a Christian, but I was dealing with it, And the Lord actually guided me to healthy eating through a guy by the name of George Malcolm's the Hallelujah Diet. And God healed my body in less than 8 weeks. Y'all, I couldn't raise my hands in a praise position. So when you see me dancing, I'm for real. My praise is real. I couldn't walk from one end of the house to the other without getting out of breath. I couldn't stand up in a sitting position without rocking first. That's how bad it was. I used to walk with a cane, but I work out 3 to 5 days a week now. So, I box with my kids and everything, but this is God. This is God. This is God. This is the work of God. And so, yeah, that was a fear of death at one time, not on the spiritual side, but the natural side. Yeah. So we got those. Yeah. Barbara, you want to speak to any of that?
Not really.
She said, not really.
No, because I've always been a wanderer, like what's beyond. Not that I want to die.
Yeah.
But reading all that the Bible describes how heaven looks, where peace and all that, you yearn for that. A part of you yearn, your spiritual body yearns, what I believe.
Yes.
But as my sister said earlier, you think about your family.
Yes.
My concern once I became a Christian and realized all the beauty of heaven, I started praying and saying, Lord, I really don't want to go because I really want to be here to see my children grow up and be able to manage and take care of themselves. Don't let me leave them to be dependent on anybody. You gave them to me as their mom. Let me do my job.
Yes.
And so God did that. He blessed me to see all of them get their own jobs. And then he started blessing me with the grandchildren.
Yes.
And I said, oh my God, this is wonderful.
Yes.
And I said, Lord, could I just see some of them grow up?
Yes. Just a little few, just a few.
And just a little bit. And I think my oldest will be 30 this year.
Wow.
And then the tree got bigger because then I started having great grands.
Yeah.
I said, okay, Lord, I know I'm stretching it here. I ain't gonna ask you to let me see them get grown, but just let me see a little portion of their life that they prosper, you know. So God he has really answered all of my prayers in that instance. Yeah, I really appreciate him allowing me to see them grow up and see my grandchildren and then my great grands. And I'm not going to push it to the great grands. I'm really not.
That's a whole, you know what, those grandbabies, that's a whole nother level of love. I tell people, there's like a special, look, you don't think you can love anybody more than your kids, but there's a special place in your heart that God has created that when those grandbabies are born, it opens up and it's like, oh my gosh.
I have one here right now. She don't want to even go home.
See?
Oh,
see?
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell y'all, I have 15. I have 15 grandbabies. And you know, the thing is, you can't be choosy, you know, but I have a few that's truly dear to me. All of them dear. But you know, you got the little 2 or 3. Well, actually it's 3 that kind of will mess with your heart and your head. All day.
You know, I have 6, right? And so my oldest is about to be 21 in March, and she's Grace. So of course she always says, well, Boyla, you know I'm the favorite, right? She reminds me that she's the favorite because she says I'm the firstborn. Like I started the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, the G babies. I call them the G babies. Well, YouTube land. You like that, G babies?
I like that.
Yes. Well, guys, we just want to say to you guys that we have enjoyed ourselves tonight. I had fun with you ladies tonight. Talked about money, woes, and debt. Yes. And we're gonna wrap this whole session up next week with sibling rivalry. We've had what, part 4 or 5? It's going to be part 6, and we're wrapping it up and getting back to our testimonies, which are lining up. But someone sent this tag in: top concerns that women have. And so we've been rolling with this. Thank you guys for listening. This is DTM Real Talk, and we're just doing what, ladies?
Keeping it
real. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.